guys, this is Morgan recording a Ravnica City of Guilds draft for SeemsGoodMagic.com. We are in the queue. The triple Ravnica City of Guilds is the flashback format for the week, which means that it is available until Wednesday the 23rd, and this is probably going up after that, but after that you'll get Ravnica Dissension, and it also means that it's single elimination, so we're going to see what we can do. I've drafted this a couple of times on my own, a couple of times with a friend who knew what they were doing, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of bad creatures and a lot of good removal, so we'll see how that goes. There are a couple of different archetypes that you can draft in triple Ravnica. There is the Golgari value grind them out deck. There's the Dimir value grind them out deck with flyers. There's the Dimir mill deck. There's the Boros attack deck. There's also an enchantment sub-theme with enchantments that have entered the battlefield abilities. For example, when this is an enchant creature that when it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, and it gives the enchanted creature flying. And there's cards that bounce enchantments from the battlefield to your hand as an additional cost to casting them, or as an additional cost to pay as they enter the battlefield. So there's a lot of shenanigans you can do with enchantments too, and there's creatures that care about being enchanted. There's removal spells that care about enchanted creatures. There's also Selesnya tokens / convoke, so you play a lot of token producers that will help you cast a lot of bigger creatures. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do, so we're going to see if we can't do one of those fun things. Permanents you control gain tap. This deals 1 damage to each creature, each player. That's really cool. We've also got Putrefy, Conclave Equinaut, Vidalcan Dismisser, which instead of being a 6-drop, 6-drop with Time Ebb attached to it is pretty good. Guardian of the Vitu-Ghazi is an 8-drop, but it's got Convoke, which means that you can tap creatures to do it. I am interested in this Flame Fulicide. This seems like a pretty good card. There's a lot of X1s in this format. There's a lot of cheap creatures. There's a lot of board stalls. There's a lot of just incremental value. So Flame Fulicide seems sweet. Conclave Equinaut is a good flyer, but I think I just take the Flame Fulicide. A couple of things about this format. It's got Signets, which you saw, which are 2 mana artifacts that you can tap and pay 1 mana to produce 2 colors. For the Golgari, it's black-green. For Selesnya, it's green-white, etc., etc. And so you can do a lot of things that you couldn't do in normal formats. So here we've got Drake Familiar. It's one of the creatures that I was talking about, 2/1 for 2 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an enchantment to its owner's hand, which is pretty sweet. There's Compulsive Research, which is good value. Civic Wayfinder is great for a multicolored deck. Sins of the Past flashes back a card for 6 mana. Cyclopean Snare. This card seems pretty good. I wonder whether I want it over a Civic Wayfinder or Compulsive Research or Dismisser. One of the awkward things about red is that red only shares a guild with white, which means that if you pick up red cards but aren't playing Boros, you are probably playing some weird multicolor deck. And so that's kind of what I'm assuming I'm doing. Let's see, there's Psychic Drain, which is target player puts top X cards of his or her library onto his or graveyard and you gain X life, which is one of the mill cards. There's also Flights of Fancy. When it enters the battlefield, draw cards and enchanted creature is flying. I could take Psychic Drain. I don't necessarily need to play with either of these 2 cards, and I could still play it with Civic Wayfinder. It's splashable, sort of. If I'm playing one of the 2 colors, either blue or black, I can splash it. It's definitely a win condition, so I think I take that over Flights of Fancy. Sandsower is definitely underrated, and I could take that to play with my Civic Wayfinder. I think we're gonna take the card that has the potential to win the game. And as a result, I think I'm gonna take the Vidalcan Dismisser over, well, Greater Mossdog is still pretty good. Drake Familiar, again, if I had picked up that Flight of Fancy, I'd be eyeing that one a little bit more. But I think I just take the Vidalcan Dismisser. This is like the third one we've seen too. That's gotta be a sign, right? Wiz and Snitches is not great. It's okay. It's a 1/3 for 4 flying, which blocks a lot of the flyers in the format, but it's not great. Greater Mossdog is probably the strongest card in the pack. Elvish Skysweeper is pretty good though. You can sacrifice a creature to destroy target creature with flying, and it doesn't have to be the Elvish Skysweeper. We're just gonna take the Greater Mossdog though. It's pretty reasonably sized for this format. Okay, so we've got, well, first of all, the rare is not very good. Enchant creature you control. When it deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and attach Breath of Fury to a creature you control. If you do, untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat. I think I'm going to take the Peel from Reality here over the Flow of Ideas. Flow of Ideas can draw a lot of cards, but Peel from Reality is pretty cool with Vidalcan Dismisser and Civic Wayfinder, and it's just a pretty good card. If you play, there are a couple of different formats where you might have seen it before. Return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their owner's hands. Let's see. Tattered Drake is fine. Strands of Undeath also fine. I think I take the Tattered Drake. Golgari Brown Scale is okay, but I'd rather take the flyer at this point. I could take the Terrarion here. There's also a Muddle the Mixture, which can find Psychic Drain, which is, I think, why I'm going to take it. Transmute for 1 and 2 blue. You can discard the card and search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost. So Muddle the Mixture costs 2, so does Psychic Drain. So, yeah, we're gonna go for it. This card isn't bad. I think we take Stasis Cell. Enchant creature. Enchanting creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step, and you can pay 4 to attach it to target creature. So, I mean, it's fine. It's not great. Cyclopean Snare Wield, which confirms that it's not as good as I thought it might have been. Drake Familiar is kind of cool if we can make it work, which we might. So I think it's worth taking over the 2/2 for 3. You gain 1 life for each creature. Yeah, no. We're just gonna take the Drake Familiar and potentially play it. Perplex, counter target spell unless its controller discards his or her hand. Or another Tattered Drake. Could also take a Dizzy spell, which gets a 1-drop, which we don't really have any of right now. I think I just take the Perplex here. Alright. That's fine. The card that gives creatures Forest Walk might not be terrible, just because there is a lot of board stalls again, but... Alright, deck looks sweet so far. Want probably more Civic Wayfinders and Bounce Lands. We didn't get any of the Vidalcan Dismissers back, but I didn't actually expect us to. Remand isn't worth anything. Char is a removal spell. There is a Civic Wayfinder, and there is a Compulsive Research. This card's also pretty good. Golgari Guildmage is actually probably the best of these 3. Even as a 2/2 for 2 green that puts a counter on target creature for 5, that seems pretty good. I can see taking Compulsive Research. I can see taking Civic Wayfinder, but I think we want to take the Guildmage. Well, we've got Consult the Necrosages, Signet, a Rot Farm, a Rot Worm, which is pretty fun with Golgari Guildmage, a Siege Worm, which is just a big guy. Millmage Shepherd, tap 4 untap creatures you control to destroy target artifact or enchantment, which is pretty sweet too. Let's see. Prize Shield is probably not worth playing. So Siege Worm is big. Golgari Rot Farm allows us to splash black a little bit easier. As does Dimir Signet. I think we have... Siege Worm is a little awkward. I think I just take the Rot Farm. Siege Worm is a little awkward because we don't actually have a lot of creatures that we can tap for it right away. Oh, alright. So Palmbright Wings is pretty cool. Enchanted creature is flying, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many 1/1 green sapling creature tokens out of the battlefield. Brain Spoil, destroy target creature that isn't enchanted, it can't be regenerated, is a very good removal spell. Ribbons of Night is definitely splashable. It deals 4 damage to target creature, and you gain 4 life. If blue was spent to cast it, draw a card. There's also a Farseek in here, and a Dimir Aqueduct, but we're definitely taking the removal spell that draws you a card. Convolute isn't something that I'm really interested in. I'd rather take the Dimir Aqueduct. Again, we can splash things like ribbons. Copy Enchantment. Is that even worth anything in foil? I'm gonna guess no, and probably just take the Snapping Drake instead. It's a 3/2 flyer, which is pretty good. There's also Dowsing Shaman, which can get back Stasis Snow. Wow, I just can't talk. But, and a Goliath Spider, which costs 8 mana. So we're just gonna take the 4 mana guy. I'm gonna go ahead and guess we're not playing this card. Could be wrong. Flight of Fancy seems fine in this deck, actually. There's also Surveilling Sprite and Terrarion. And Drift of Phantasms, which is a blocker. I think I just take the Flight of Fancy, though. Spectral Searchlight isn't as good as it used to be. You can tap it to choose a player. That player adds 1 mana of any color he or she chooses to his or her mana pool, which used to be good because it could just ping an opponent. However, because mana burn. However, now it's just a 3 mana mana rock, which is not good in a world of signets, but since we don't have any, I'd rather take that than Grifter's Blade, which is a 3 mana equipment with flash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, but as it enters the battlefield attached to a creature, so it's basically a combat trick. So if we want to go all in on milling, we could take this Vidalcan Entrancer. There's also a Greater Moss Dog and a Consult the Necro Sages. I think I just take the 3/3. Although we aren't, like, committed to green, I guess. I could take the Entrancer, is what I'm saying. I think the Entrancer has more upside. Here I'll take the Convolute. Like, if we don't play these, we can still play black and have a pretty consistent deck, I think. There's another Tattered Drake. Do I really want another Tattered Drake? Probably not. Guess I take the Brown Scale. Not really interested in that either, but nah. Farseek Wield, which is kind of nice. Shambling Shell's also kind of nice, except for it's in Golgari, which is what we are almost assuredly not. I'll take a Farseek, that's fine. I'll take a 4/1, I guess. So far, so good. Alright, now I'm taking the Goliath Spider. That guy's really big. I feel like Seismic Spike should be better than in a format with bounce lands, but it still feels bad. It's kind of like a Stone Rain, but not at all. Alright, is Doubling Season worth anything? Question I should ask myself before just immediately taking the Dimir Guildmage. Disembowel is also good, but I think the Guildmage is better. Nah, it's like $1. Sweet. Okay, so Disembowel, destroy target creature with converted mana cost X. Very good. For a black and an X, instant speed. Doubling Season doesn't do anything in this deck. Dimir Guildmage, you can pay 4 to have target player draw a card, or pay 4 to have target player discard a card. This card is very good in this format. If you don't kill it immediately, there's a good chance your opponent will win. So, pretty happy to have it. Here I could take a Brain Spoil if I decide that I want to be more green, or more black than green. I could take a Strands of Undeath for my 10 creatures. Yeah, that's probably not right. Drilling Grudian is very good too. There's also a Dimir Aqueduct and a Siege Worm. I kind of don't want to play this or this. So, Drilling Grudian, not as good as it could be. I should probably just be taking the Brain Spoil here, or a Dimir Aqueduct. I'll take a Brain Spoil. I do like some removal spells. Ooh, alright. This is kind of awkward because now we're straight 3 colors, but Primordial Sage is very good. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. I like drawing cards. I don't know about you guys. There's also a Vidalcan Dismisser, a Farseek, and a Golgari Signet. You can see I was planning on taking the Golgari Signet before I saw this card. Mind Bleach Mass is an 8-drop. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may look at that player's hand. If you do, you may cast an online card from it without paying that card's mana cost. There's also a 4/4 for 5 that has the possibility of losing Defender. There's a 3/1 for 3. Fist of Ironwood is sweet. With Drake Familiar. When it enters the battlefield, you put 2 Saplings onto the battlefield. I think I just take the big thing though. Like, I'm okay with that. Clutch of the Undercity is great. There's also Terrarion and Surveilling Sprite. There's a Flight of Fancy here. Ooh, Trophy Hunter is also very good. You can pay 1 and a green to deal 1 damage to target creature with flying, and whenever a creature with flying dealt damage by Trophy Hunter this turn dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. That card's good. Twilight Drover's sweet. Whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. You can pay 2 and a white to remove a counter from it and put 2 1/1 white spirit tokens onto the battlefield. I don't think I take it. I think I just take the Selesnya Sanctuary, which might actually be worth playing. I'm not really interested in the Translumiant. If you're wondering about things like Translumiant, and like their abilities, they seem really weird or bad, Thought Picker Witch, stuff like that, remember that damage used to stack back in the day. I will take a Selesnya Signet. I'm not sure if I play it. I might be better off with the Searchlight, to be honest. Voyager Staff is sweet. You can pay 2 and sacrifice it to exile target creature and return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This includes both your creatures and your opponent's creatures. So it's great with Vidalcan Dismisser, Civic Wayfinder, and for making creatures unexpectedly unable to block. Take the Strands, I guess. Strands is an enchantment with a Mind Rod attached to it. I'm gonna take a Farseek. Having a Farseek really makes me wish that... Ooh, we will the Sky Sweeper. This card's pretty sweet. Seems like it would be really good, but I think I just want a Sky Sweeper. Having 2 Farseeks makes me wish that I had a Compulsive Research. Don't think I want a second Flight of Fancy in this deck. So it looks like we're primarily blue with a heavy black splash, which is fine. I think I cut Stasis, so Flights of Fancy doesn't actually seem very good in this deck. Neither does Vidalcan Entrancer. Kinda wish I had a second Greater Moss Dog now. Selesnya Signet can probably go to be replaced by like either Golgari Brown Scale or Goliath Spider. Probably not Goliath Spider. We'll just take a Golgari Brown Scale, I think. Having a 2/3 for 3 doesn't sound bad. Yeah, I think having Brain Spoil and Mind Leech Mass are both fine. As double black spells, we have 2 Farseeks and these guys. So, Golgari Brown Scale is actually pretty sweet with Elvish Sky Sweeper. I'm gonna add some basics. We want 2 swamps, maybe 3. Now we got those 2. Yeah, this looks about right. Cool. I'll see you guys in round 1.